Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Purple Science Podcast. I'm Srishti Chipre, and today we are going to talk about a very creative, interesting field in science. Have I ever mentioned why I named this podcast Purple Science? Well, that's because purple represents creativity and imagination, and we talk about creative contributions, creative initiatives in the field of science, which is what the logo of the podcast also represents. Well, colors and visuals can often be very effective in expressing emotions and communicating certain concepts. And of course, science is also not devoid of arts. Be it that picture of solar system that you have been seeing right from the childhood, or the visuals of the internal human body that you have memorized completely, or the world at the molecular level, at the atomic level, the cells, the organelles, the nucleus, the DNA, everything has been visualized and communicated to you by an artist. There's a whole field at the interface of science and arts which is called scientific illustration or medical illustration. What this is all about? Well, we talked to Miss Soma Ghosh, who has been working in this field for quite a few years. She has worked with many organizations, completed many science illustration projects, and has been doing amazing work. We asked her all the basics about the field, what this is all about, what jobs do people get, what kind of pay scale do they get, what kind of training do they require, what are the future prospects, and so on. This podcast is especially for beginners or enthusiasts who might not know about the field, or they did hear about the field but are wondering how to start their career in it. I hope you find this useful. Let's get to the episode.
All right, Ms. Ghosh. Welcome to the Purple Science Podcast. First of all, especially for the ones who have not heard of the field that you work in, and for those who might have heard about it and want to pursue a career in it, can we start with what is science illustration exactly and why is it important?
Yes, sure. Scientific illustration is a specialized field where we combine science and art to create visuals so that we can represent scientific concepts, object, and process in a simple and easy to understand manner. So it's quite important because it helps us explain complicated scientific ideas in a easy to understand way. So it makes science more interesting, exciting by using drawings, pictures, and illustration to show that how it works. And it also allows the scientists to share their discoveries with the public so that any non-technical or non-scientific people can get interested in it or likes to understand like what it is. So it's really helps scientists to share their research to the public, and it makes science more easier and it's like more fun to explore.
That's very true. And just to add a fact here that we are surrounded by science illustrations completely, and our life without it is actually would be very difficult. In our textbooks, all the videos we watch, there's so many tons of content on social media. It's everywhere basically.
Yeah, it's everyone, and it makes life more easier. I feel like there are many complex scientific information in a text which we might not be able to like depict it or understand, but visual makes it more easier. There is a saying like picture speaks thousand words. So I feel like visuals are very important when you are conveying any important information. So scientific illustration is very, very important, not just in the scientific field also, but as in like general to share information.
Very true, very true. In fact, the fact that none of us has actually seen the solar system or our own digestive system, but if you ask even a kid, he or she will be able to explain it quite well and quite immediately.
Yes, true. Yeah.
So, my next question to you is that usually science communicator, at least according to me, is a very self explanatory term. But
Right.
people don't understand what distinctly a science communicator is and how they are different from scientists. That is
Right.
usually what I face whenever I meet new people and tell them what I do. So, as a researcher turned psychomer, would you like to resolve this for our audience?
Sure. So basically, people need to understand that scientists are somebody who conduct research and they investigate different field which they are expertise in. They might be spending a lot of time in discovering new things, conducting experiments, analyzing data. So they are particularly focused on expanding knowledge and understanding the field which they are working. Whereas on the other hand, a science communicator is a person who takes this complex scientific information from scientists and share it with the public in a way that it is easy to understand. They use various methods to communicate scientific concepts. Maybe it is in the form of writing articles or creating videos, giving presentation, using social media platform. These days, social media is like a very good platform to communicate science. So they are the most important people who are doing this particular work for breaking down complicated scientific information into a simpler language and engaging visuals also that one can easily understand. So,
Very right, very right. So, scientists might not necessarily do this and should not have to do this because it makes sense for them to completely focus on their research work. And then there are science based movies, there are news channels, articles, the list just goes on. So, there's a lot of responsibilities that science communicators actually take up. Very right. I completely agree with that. So, also, Ms. Ghosh, you have studied biotechnology, I think, for your bachelor's. And
yes.
so, I wanted to ask if you always had an interest in science, like from earlier, and also how and when did you figure out that you were keen about scientific illustration?
So I did my master's also in biotechnology and then I had
Right.
shifted to bioinformatics because I really was interested to work as a computational biology. So when I was working in an industry as a computational biologist, the most of the time we had to work on like making presentation, infographic and communicating our work to a non-scientific background. And then I realized that I have a knack of art like since from my childhood. So when I got this opportunity while working with the company, I realized that is something I wanted to do something like this if there is any field. But I was just simply working on this particular, like making presentation and then creating art and just sharing on social media. I did not realize that there is a field called scientific illustration. So when I really, I did some research and found out that there is a field called scientific illustration. Then I thought of going to this field.
Can you quickly tell us about your first SciComm project? I mean, your first science illustration project, and what were the likely challenges that you faced while doing that?
Okay, so there is a short story actually. I was sharing my work as a like creative scientific illustration. So I didn't know that time that there is something called scientific illustration or medical illustration field. So I was sharing all those creative work on social media and somebody reached out from there and told me that they wanted to do a graphical abstract for her PhD project. So that was my first project. So as a science communicator, I got my first project from her. And then I realized there is a field which is not very popular in India actually, but it is very popular outside of India. Like in USA, Europe, there are many people who recruit a scientific illustrator for their PhD work or for making cover art for their journals. So it's quite popular field there. So that was my first project. The challenge which I had was I absolutely had no idea what graphical abstract is because I was just simply sharing. So the skill was one of the main important thing at that moment, but other thing was like after completing this project I really wanted to get into the scientific illustration field. Like I again wanted to transition from a computational biologist to the scientific illustration field, and resources were really less to get into this field, especially in India. So the transition was most challenging after taking that project because I had just put on my mind that I wanted to be a scientific illustrator. So I was like questioning myself, like my own identity, that am I only associated with the lab bench, or I'm associated with a particular institute, or I have my own identity of creating this path. So that was the most challenging thing. It took me a long, long time to understand my like own identity, and there was a lot of self reflection on understanding about myself, that what motivates me and what I wanted to do, and how can I make the most of the impact with this skill which I had. I tell people that before transition to any field, you keep asking yourself like what you really wanted to do and what motivates you. So it will be easier for you to like get into it. Yeah. So that was the main challenge.
Right. So, what you work in is a very specific field and it requires a very specific skill set. And as you said, when you began, you didn't know what a graphical abstract was, which is true for most creative fields. Most science communicators that come here also mention that at the beginning of their careers there was not enough guidance and not enough people telling them what science communication was because they themselves didn't know. People with creative career paths like yours, they have to depend a lot on internet for guidance, and especially something like science illustration because it's
Right.
very specific, as I said. So, what was your initial source of information? Was it internet, or did you get the mentorship or guidance you required from somebody? And this question is especially for the aspiring science illustrators now. Is it available for them? What sources should they go for?
So I did not get any mentorship. Like it would have been really, really nice when I started if there is any mentorship opportunities, but it is still very limited. The source and the mentorship opportunities for scientific illustration is quite limited till now. But there are many social media platform, and then there are many communities which are being like emerging nowadays. So basically when I started, I had to keep on looking for information on YouTube channels and internet. So if somebody is trying to get into this field, I think it is important to create their own portfolios, like keep on practicing things, keep on putting your ideas, making own prompts and practicing from them. And for resources, like how I started is from, there are many online tutorials, like there is a course on natural scientific illustration in edx. I don't think it is available now, but it keep coming back and forth, this kind of courses. And there are many books. Actually, there is one book which recently had been published by Jane, which the name is like Building Science Graphic. If somebody is interested in this building science graphic, they can pick up this book and get lots of information. Then there is a YouTube channel by Annie. Also, she had started a course on learning medical art. So you can also take that course. So you can find many resources from her YouTube channel, Annie, by which I had learned from her channel. And there is many organization like GNSI, Guild of Natural Illustrator. They have many resources. There is another one, Association of Medical Illustrator. This organization often provides many resources. You can get a mentorship program also. There is one conference is coming up in GNSI, and there are many networking opportunities also for like people who wanted to get into this field. And I'll request everybody who are aspiring to be an illustrator to keep looking up workshops conducted by other illustrator, like Rafiq have 3D illustration workshop. He keeps on giving this kind of workshop. Look for that. And there are books like which I suggested is good book to start off. So yeah.
Right, right. So I personally believe in the way that you did it. If you want to become a science illustrator, then you make science illustrations and just
Right.
work on them, get feedback, improve them. That's the perfect way to do it. But just to put it out there, are there any degree programs or degree courses available, even online or in India, out of India, wherever? And if not, do you think a degree, a background in science or graphic design helps?
So it's actually, I feel it's best to like put yourself out, making your own art and then putting it on social media, keep practicing, keep improving your skills by taking some online courses, like particularly improving your skills of your drawing or illustrating or graphic designing. There are so many options you can get to improve your skills. So the best way is, for what I feel, is to create your own artwork and then put it out there for showcasing your work to the world. Keep asking feedbacks, how they can improve, to other illustrators who are professional. So that is the best way to learn, I feel. But yes, of course, there are courses available outside India. It's a very serious profession. They have many degree courses there. You can find it out in internet. Like if you search for scientific illustration degrees, you can get it. One university which is quite good, I feel, is University of Dundee. They have opportunity for medical illustration. If somebody wants to opt for that, they can go to their website and check out their requirements. But I feel it's mostly important to improve your skill by doing it. It's better to practice than going into a degree, because for me, I had done my master's and I kept on thinking like my qualification is not going to work. I had been doing all these years. I had studied biotechnology and then I had been trained to work in the field of bioinformatics. And now then I am switching off to this field. Do I need a degree? Am I not good enough? So this question kept coming back, but I think it's nice to have, but it is not important, I feel, because we already have a training, painting or drawing skill. You can opt for any courses to like improve that. But I don't think to be a creative in the scientific illustration field, you don't need a degree. It's my personal thinking. I might not be right. But it is important to have a degree in science, because if you are not a science background people, then how can you like depict or break the complicated information into visual? That information, it is required. Like that degree is obviously required, because it would be very difficult for a person who is from an art background and doing this scientific illustration work. It would be very difficult. For them, it is, I think, taking a scientific illustration course would be better.
Very true. So even for the artists who might be curious about science, they don't need to get disheartened, because I've met enough people who are from an art background completely and they have become amazing science communicators and science illustrators. So what matters is you have that basic knowledge, you make that effort to understand those concepts and talk to more people, and then
Right.
as the secret sauce, we know it. Just try making scientific illustrations, put your work out there, get feedback and improve. That's
Get feedback.
that's how it should
Yes.
be done.
That's the most important thing to be on this field, is to get feedback, collaborate with the other scientists, and try to improve. Try to know where you are lagging and what needs to be improved. So that is how it works, I feel.
True, very true. So also, Ms. Ghosh, what are the kind of jobs that one gets in this field? What are the entry level jobs, and what kind of a pay scale can one expect?
Actually, I see a lot of improvement compared to when I started off in this field. Like it seems a lot of people are more interested in this field and the market is quite positive, I would say, because in abroad it is a very serious profession and they have formal education to become scientific illustrator. And I had seen many industries are also looking for medical illustrator. Like for example, Novo Nordisk has an opening in scientific illustration. Then there are many other good top pharma companies are recruiting. Sanofi is also recruiting science graphic illustrators. So the market is quite positive and people are realizing the importance of illustration. And there are many institutes slowly realizing that there are better skilled and better trained people at communicating science. And I see there are many funding bodies also allocating a part of grant budget to science communication and public outreach efforts. So for an entry level person, they can go to this institute for like small project, and they can work with the scientists to understand how the things work. Like small project they can apply, and after gaining experience they can switch to the industry, which is also good. Pay scale, the pay scale is very low actually. But for a starting base, you can start off, like it's important to start off anywhere. Like if it is a low pay also, it's fine. You just work with a scientist or with a industry to get a feel of it, like how does it work, so that you can also establish yourself as a science communicator, and then you can start your own freelancing work. So it depends upon project actually, project to project, and how much time you're going to put on. So basically, any project depends upon how much time you're going to take and how much efforts you're going to put on. So the pay scale also depends upon that.
Can you share the actual range that one can get here in India and in abroad? What kind of a difference exists?
Oh my God. Abroad is like you don't even ask. Oh my God. But here it is quite low in compared to that, because that area is quite strong, no? Because they had a formal training, and that's a very serious position. Somewhere between in abroad, you can get $600 to $700 for one graphical abstract. Can you imagine? But
That's
you
right.
cannot expect that in India.
Right.
So for one graphical abstract, if you are beginning, like for a beginner, it's something around 1,000 to 1,500 per illustration. But for
Oh,
expert, if you are
that's too less
expert,
actually. We have a
yeah,
long way to go.
yeah, absolutely. We have to find a good, proper community and good, proper networking opportunity, so that we can give opportunity to the budding illustrator. It's absolutely true that we have to go a long way.
Right. So, I'm guessing that in your field, a word of mouth publicity is very important. So,
Yes, absolutely. I also feel that.
agreed. So, I think with experience, and if you have a couple of people that you work with and who like your work, then gradually your pay scale and your position will also increase.
Increases. Yes, true.
All right. Moving a little bit to your experience, I think you mentioned how you started with your science illustration career after your bioinformatics gig. After that, I think you have taken many projects in this area. You have worked for a couple of organizations. Would you mind mentioning those experiences and what were your roles?
Okay, so I used to work as a freelancer when I started, but now in my current position, I'm also a scientific illustrator, but I'm working full time, I would say. For it's been like 2 to 3 months that I'm working with them. It's quite different, you know. You had been working alone, and you are trying to improve by yourself when you are doing freelancing work. Most of the time, you have to depend upon YouTube channels or something like that. But when you're working with the industry, it's quite a lot of different thing. There are so many people's working with you as a team. There is a lot more chance of getting improvement, feedbacks. So if I compare from my last working as a freelancer, and now I'm working as a like in the industry, it's quite different. Like I also get to meet people who are like in this field for a very long time. I get to talk about their experiences, how they had started and how they had improved. So it's a lot more learning in the field when you are in the industry and working as a team.
Fantastic. So I think you had said this, you've mentioned this before very briefly, but the situation is better now for the people who aspire to become science illustrators. Is it any better from the time that you have started? And in
Yes,
what
it
way, of
is.
course?
Yes, it is getting better, but I won't say that simply depend upon the scientific illustration field because there is very rare opportunity to get a full time.
Mm-hmm.
Very few companies are giving this opportunities. So uh, before taking up, like this is the one of the advice I would like to give anybody, like before taking on to illustration field or any other field, to self reflect and understand that what skills you have and what you wanted to do for a very long time, because in this field you can get many opportunities as a freelancer, and it has a lot of hurdles and responsibilities when you are becoming a freelancer, you know. So not having a full-time job would be a very difficult task. So before taking up this scientific illustration position, you know, you have to think a lot about it. And just because somebody is doing, you have to do, that's not the thing. You have to create your own niche in this creative field, like just copying other. And then I also wanted to be illustrator because I have this skill I can do. You have to think a lot of questions from yourself, like will it be feasible for me to keep working as a freelancer, because most of the time you will not get client, most of the time you have to work to pitch yourself, so it's a very difficult task. Yeah, so that's the thing.
Right. All right. So, moving a bit to the technicalities of the field, usually art is considered to be the imaginative, interpretative field which has no limits. But then when it comes to art for science, there's a lot of expectations for accuracy and scientific integrity. So, how do you ensure that? How do you ensure accuracy and scientific integrity in your illustrations?
For this, you have to collaborate with the subject matter. It is for sure like you won't be knowing everything. Like just because I'm from a computational biology field or I'm a biotechnologist, I would be knowing everything. That's not the thing. You have to ask the subject matter experts about them, and you have to depend upon reliable sources to understand these scientific concepts before illustrating. Then you have to collaborate with the team, with the scientists, you know, all these things matters a lot. You have to keep on communicating with them. Continuous feedback is important to know, to catch any mistakes and then improve their work. So it's really important. So combining this particular research, collaborating, and then getting more and more feedbacks from your work, you can effectively communicate this thing as visually.
Right. So, can you describe the process that you use for a project usually? For example, if you have the project to make a graphical abstract for a research paper, how do you go about it? Where do you start? How do you do the research and what happens exactly?
Yeah, so I basically ask the person who has approached me to give me a reference, how they wanted to present their work as in graphical abstract. I also want a little bit summary of their project also to understand that what I'm going to illustrate. And then when I first give a rough sketch, they give their feedback, and then I do a second draft, like if this feedback which they had given has been like properly done. And after that back and forth feedback, then I process to the main structure of it, and then I deliver it. So it takes lots of collaboration with them, understanding their subject by asking for information if they have a summary or if they have a reference picture is very important to start a project in graphical abstract, like how they want, what they want, and basically what structure they are looking to it. If they have any scientific guidelines, like for us graphical abstract, there are guidelines provided in every journals. Different journals have different guidelines. So that guideline also required when you're going to start these projects, like graphical abstract projects. And after that, you get properly arrange all those things, then you can deliver it.
Sounds good. Also, finally, do you feel limited by the specificity of the field that you work in? Do you feel like there's a lot that I could have done with my artistic abilities, but because this field is so specific, do you feel limited by the rules or the,
No,
the
actually,
set rules?
no, absolutely not. Different scientific illustration is just not limited to making graphical abstract look. Graphical abstract has certain like foundation. You had to because you had to publish it in a journal. So that thing is there, but when it comes to cover art, there is no limitation. You can create those things, you can visualize, you can talk with the scientists, how you want to create. So there is a lot of fun working in this field. So there is no foundation. I had never found foundation in this working in this field particularly. I really enjoy it because it gives me a lot of space. But yes, provided you are saying like limitation, I get limitation in the timelines actually. You have to do it in a particular timeline, which sometimes is very difficult to provide. And that is very unexpected and unrealistic. Not unexpected, it's very unrealistic deadline they put on, which a creative person cannot put on their work in this limited time. So I felt foundation on the timeline, but not in like in the work. I never got that. I had enjoyed my creative space in this particular field.
Lovely. Thank you for those insights. I think that will be really useful for especially the aspiring science illustrators who are starting out their work. So, this is the question that I like to ask everybody who comes on my podcast. With the experience that you now have, if you were to relive your undergrad journey, your undergrad days, what would you do differently?
So during that time, I was quite a shy person. Being an introvert, I've been too much shy and not very
Mm-hmm.
good in being social or communicating with others. So that was
Right.
my one important thing which I had lacked. But if now, like I sometimes feel like why I was so introverted that time, and I am so sometimes I feel like extroverted now. So if I had been now that I have the skills, and if I go back to my undergrad, then I feel like the most important skill which is required is networking and communicating. So if that would have been happened, then I would got many such opportunities, good opportunities. I don't regret anything. Whatever my journey was, it was quite nice and unique. And yes, that's the thing.
And that was all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, but I wouldn't know unless you guys tell me. Hit me up at the Teddy and social media platforms. Let me know what you think of the episode so far and if there's anything that you would like to hear on this podcast specifically. I will see you next Tuesday with another episode and another story in science. Thanks for tuning in to the Purple Science Podcast. We share stories every Tuesday. Our inbox is always open for your feedback, and our DMs across all social media platforms linked in the description are open to your unique stories. If you know somebody who might benefit from this, do share the podcast with them and spread the joy of learning.